It looks like he will miss two big games. We talked about this, didn't we, over the last couple of days at Stamford Bridge. It's Leeds at the weekend and then the second leg of Borussia Dortmund.
All these teams.
I was going to say.
Yeah, if you're getting beat or bad results, or Dortmund's different, right? Champions League, because Chelsea ain't going far in that competition, not good enough. But Leeds, we just talked about Leicester, and then Everton are currently in the bottom three. They're all relegation fodder this season. That puts even more pressure on.
Look, Villa could get sucked into the relegation conversation. Wolves as well.
But yet all we keep hearing from Chelsea, Todd Bowley, is, well, it doesn't matter what's happening, he's safe at the moment. But and I don't think that's the wrong thing, I have to say. However, if they were to pick up 2 or 3 defeats to those teams, how you stave off the fan base is beyond me. I just don't know how they would be able to withstand the pressure from the Chelsea fans who would want a change in management. That's more of a problem for Todd Bowley and Graham Potter. I don't know how it's going to work out. They're not playing well enough at the moment, but yeah, it could be close.
Frank, obviously, a major blow for Chelsea. How much of a factor is it, how much of a differential is it, looking ahead to that clash against Borussia Dortmund, that second leg?
It's huge. When you talk about one of the best players in the world, for sure the best player at Chelsea this season, with the experience, the amount of experiences that he has through his long career, you know that not having him is a big blow. And yes, you have Koulibaly, you have Fofana, you have Chalobah, but they don't have the experience, they don't have the talent, they don't have the technique, they don't have the anticipation of Thiago Silva, and the credit that Thiago Silva has, to the other players as well. There are some question marks about Fofana. He's young, he's been injured. Koulibaly is the same. He's signed for the club, had one good game, then has been struggling since. And Chalobah is still young and experienced. So for the other players, for the goalkeeper, is also something you wonder, because you don't have your best player and you don't have the most experienced player just in front of you. So it's gonna be a real test for those players. It's gonna be a test for Chelsea. I mean, and it might be the last test for Potter. I think if Potter doesn't win that game and go through against Dortmund at home, that's over. It's really over. I don't see Potter staying after the UCL.
No, I'm not sure about that, Frank. I think the league games are more important. Because Chelsea are not going to... I mean, let's be honest, even if they were to scramble through against Dortmund, the first sign of a decent team, they're going out. They can't win a Premier League game, for God's sake.
Yeah, but...
You know what I mean?
Craig, there is nothing to hope from the Premier League. You know that you're not going to get anything from there. The fans, and maybe the political message that you're going to throw, they're going to send to the fans if you sack Potter before Dortmund, is that you don't care about it, because you know that the new coach won't be able to change anything before that big game. So you want to believe that Potter will find a solution. Then if he doesn't, there is maybe the excuse to sack him. That's the only thing, because that's the only hope for Chelsea to get something big this season. Of course, you and I, we know, and I think if we're clever enough, you know that they're not going to win the Champions League. That's going to be a miracle. Well, I said that last year for Real Madrid. So, really, I really think that Chelsea is in the middle of a big mess, and for the board, sacking Potter before Dortmund will send a message to the fans that we don't even believe in anything. So, wrong message. So they have to wait. They have to wait because they don't have the choice.
I think the league games are more important because, the fans have to see something tangible to take forward. Now, you could probably...
Could not a good result against Dortmund not prove to be a catalyst?
Probably.
Like Xhaka when he was at Portsmouth.
Well, I'm just trying to be a realist here in terms of look where they are on the table, look the way they're playing, look the way they're defending now, look the way they've been so poor in front of goal. What's the point hanging on to a tournament that... I mean, you're going to try and win, of course you are. But the likelihood of Dortmund beating them is quite high. And so, therefore, I don't think there's any great expectation there. However, there is expectation to beat Leeds United, Leicester City and Everton, and then with Aston Villa coming up. And it's about time for leadership now. It's probably going to be Badiashile and Koulibaly. I know he can't play in the Champions League, but he probably will play in the Premier League. And it's time for Koulibaly to step up and show the leadership that he had at Napoli. The leadership that he had at Napoli, that they brought him to the club, that defensive powerhouse that he was, organising the back four. Look, there's no excuses. They got Chilwell back and they got Reece James back now. That was the excuse 2 months ago. Our wing-backs are out. We don't have the wing-backs that we want. Well, got your wing-backs now. OK, you've Thiago Silva's out, but you've got other defenders. You signed other defenders. You brought Koulibaly in from Napoli, who was one of the best in Europe. OK, hasn't been great, but it's time for him to step up. And I really think those 3 big Premier League games, not the Champions League game, are where it's going to hinge.
What's the worst case scenario? Obviously, they lose them all. But what's the line that isn't that you say, right, Potter's got to go if he doesn't get X amount of points from those games?
I don't know. I mean, take the 3 Premier League games against those teams. Take the Dortmund game and yell it out for now. I would say if he picked up like a point or maybe 3 out of the 9. Do you know what I'm saying?
Then he's gone.
Well, I think it's a hard sell for the ownership.
Yeah.
For the support.
And there's a little bit of space there.
And if you get knocked out again in the Champions League.
Yeah.
I think he gets a lifeline if they stay in the Champions League.
Right.
I agree. I think Potter has to get 4 points. I think Chelsea are desperate to have a deep run in the Champions League because that's the only thing that makes this season look anything respectable. Even if they win the next 3 games, and they are winnable against that opposition, you can't, even then, will you say, I see Chelsea finishing higher than 8th, which is I'm not sure how you make an argument for Potter to stay on next season.
You're saying they should have a run in the Champions League?
I think...
What have you seen that would suggest they can?
No, I'm not saying they can. I'm saying that's what they need. Even if they win...
We all need that.
Even if they win the next 3 games, I still don't see Chelsea putting together the rest of the season that sees them finishing any higher than 8th, and I don't think that's good enough for Potter. He goes. The only thing that somehow keeps Potter in this job next season is that top 7 finish and a deep run in Champions League, which I do not see coming. I just don't. So I'm not sure. Even if we talk about the next couple of games, I think Potter is... Well, on read him his last rights, pretty much.
The reality is for these teams, and Liverpool are in that same scenario, although the manager's not under the pressure that Potter's under, and rightly so for his success in CV. But the Liverpool-Real Madrid game was a great case in point. They really needed something to give them a bit of hope in terms of a run in the Champions League. But realistically, come on, it was never going to happen because they just have not been playing well enough. Real Madrid came to Anfield, themselves not been great, and completely obliterated them after being 2-0 down. Chelsea are a similar scenario in that it's kind of people are hoping they'll have a run in this competition, but the realism is they just ain't good enough.
Of course, Potter not working out, certainly at Chelsea. Quite the opposite for Ten Hag. Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.